Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Take a quick second to say thank you to the channel members. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you more than you know. And for any of those of you who may be just stopping to watch the video, thank you for that. If you like what you see, if you like the EDC content that I post, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. It would help the channel out, and it will also notify you when I release new content. And then finally, if you're over on IG, give me a follow over there. We can hook up and communicate on Instagram. Same handle is here at JEvans Knife Addict Life. So today I wanted to kind of go through my EDC fixed blades and look at those particular fixed blades that I felt like would be up for the challenge, right? So if we were looking at EDC fixed blades that we might have to put through some hard use, we might have to strike a ferro rod, we might have to depend on them when we were out and about and not just use them for boxes and the normal things that I use my knives for, right? Might have to use it on the campsite, might have to use it while hiking. So what I did is I came across, did some kind of looking at the collection, and then came up with what I consider to be 5 good, tougher use EDC knives. And there are a couple of different reasons that they fit into that category, but we'll take a look at them. And the first one is probably the smallest knife on the list, and people would probably say, why in the world would that be considered a hard use knife? And that's a ferro rod here. I was going to kind of show you why. First of all, it is just a chunk of Magna Cut, full tang construction, very nice heat treat, very, very sharp, but it's got this super sharp spine, which is an absolute ferro rod murderer. So I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm sure you did. But anyway, this will strike a ferro rod with absolutely no hesitation. It will spark up fires. I've lit fires with it. It's super hardy. This little knife is just an absolute joy to carry because it's small. I carry it in my back pocket, or if I'm camping, I'll carry it on my belt. I've still got to reach out to LT Wright's partner and find out how to get a Kydex sheath for this. But this is the Frontier First by LT Wright. It is a little hunk of Magna Cut that I would have no problem feather sticking, using this by itself to start a fire, using this to get out of tougher situations, using it to save a Slurpee. It's just, for its size, I think it hits well over its weight, and I think it's up to a lot more than just your daily EDC tasks. So as we move on, we'll come to one of the first knives that I picked up as a fixed blade for my EDC. And again, this isn't the ideal hard use knife because it's an S35VN. It's not in a tool steel, but the SKIII has been just an absolute winner for me. I've used this knife on campsites. I've used this knife hiking. I've used this knife in the backyard, used it in the front yard to cut down little weed trees, little things that I had to hack away at. It still has a very sharp edge. I put the contoured handles that I got from, gosh, I forget the company. I'm sure y'all know of it, but they sell handles. The handles that originally came with these were a little bit more bulbous, and these feel better in my hand. So the SE3, guys, is a knife that I am absolutely confident can outwork a lot of my other smaller EDCs. So this is not a big knife. I've got it hooked up with an ulti clip. The way I carry it is in my back pocket. I carry it like so, and then I clip that to my back hem. No problem getting the knife out without pulling the sheath out. If I'm carrying it at a campsite, I might have it on my waistband. Again, ulti clipped in, because wherever I clip it, it's going to stay. But the SE3, Yes, it would probably be a better hard use knife if it was treated like my Candura and in the tool steel, but I got the S35 version because I had bought it as an EDC knife before I realized its size, and now I take it out when I need a banger on the campsite or I need a banger when I'm hiking. So the SE3 is going to come in at number 4, right behind the LT Wright. And right in front of the SE3, we've got a little smaller survival knife or EDC knife, and this is the Bradford Guardian III in Rex 45. This little knife is an absolute bruiser. It had the checkered G10 handles on it. Those kind of hurt my hand because I don't wear gloves a lot when I'm using my knife. So I ordered some of the contoured micarta, and it's changed everything about this little knife for me. It's the only knife I have in Rex 45. It is super, super sharp. Not that that means that it's going to be a banger when you're out in the woods, but I know it's thick enough to get the job done. I know it can cut through wood. It can cut through, it can feather stick if we're trying to make a fire, if we're using it to cut cord, if we're trying to cut something loose. It's, again, it's very sharp. Has that matrix finish that keeps it from getting and showing wear too much. So I would have no problem banging this through a couple of small pieces of wood if I needed to. It's gotten some hard use already. You can see some marks on that blade there, but it's held up just like a champ. I use this as a beater knife. This is an absolute user, and I feel 100% confident that this would punch way over its weight. And that's why it comes in at number 3 behind the SE3, and that is the Bradford Guardian III. So moving on, we come to number 2. And again, guys, these are knives that I carry as EDC knives. There are better knives for the job. I agree with that. If you're carrying big knives or bigger knives, for example, if I, instead of carrying this T.Kell Raider, which I want to talk about because it's an EDC size knife, if I was carrying my Outer Limitless Accomplice, it's a bigger knife. Sure, it would work better in the woods, but this is the knife that I carry on the daily. This is one of the knives that I carry on the daily. So this knife is EDC ROV HD. It is treated with nitrate boron. It is a very hardy blade treatment, the same type of treating that they do for pew-pews, for bulk carriers, assembly carriers. Totally corrosion resistant, wear resistant, has its own protective qualities. But this knife, I have hacked down bamboo with it. I film myself hacking down bamboo with it, and I can use this to baton through firewood, to get a fire started, to, heaven forbid, have to use in a self-defense situation. It has no bad grips. It is a small or a medium-sized knife. Just to give you guys an idea, there's a pair 3. So it's smaller than a pair 3, but it is an absolute little chunk. So the Raider, which these are available, they're being reserved now because they're almost finished, the next batch. But the Raider from T.Kell Knives is an absolute banger. It is super sharp. It is super capable. Again, it took me, I think, 20 seconds to use this little knife to chop through some bamboo while I filmed it. And the bamboo was about that thick. And I know bamboo's not that hard, but I'm confident that I could chop this through just about anything that needed to be dealt with on a campsite, on a trail. This is just a robust little knife. It's an absolute banger, and it would be number 1 if the number 1 knife in this collection wasn't so over the top for a small knife that I carry. But this is the T.Kell Raider. It is American made, as are every one of these knives that I'm showing. They're all made in the USA. I use an ulti-clip with this knife. I keep this one in my back pocket, clip it in, and all of the T.Kell knives have this nice thumb ramp, so you can easily get behind that ulti-clip and push that sheath to get it loose so you're not pulling your sheath out of your pocket or struggling with it. The T.Kell Raider, guys, available now, and a fantastic knife. Which brings us to my number one bruiser. And I could have substituted another knife with this, the Shed Knives Resilience. I thought the Shed Knives Skur kind of spoke more to the size knives that I carry when we're talking about a small EDC knife. There it is next to the Paramilitary 2. This is a small little chunk of 154 cm, almost a 1/4 inch of 154 cm. It's a hollow grind that is very, very sharp. It is not only sharp, but as you might imagine, it is very hardy. I have chopped this knife. I have stabbed with this knife. That belly just rolls the cut off. But this was originally set up as a game prepping knife. It's got a belly that would allow you to get in there and dress game. If you were hunting, it was a hunter's knife. But this thing is, again, massive. It's not the sliciest knife in the collection here. That makes sense because it's nearly a 1/4 inch thick. But it's got a pommel that you can use either for self-defense or to drive tent spikes in or to hammer on a campsite. You've got this really hardy blade with this super nice jimping that locks your hand in. I have chopped with this knife again. I have batoned with this knife. It is just an absolute little bruiser. Now, Shed Knives does make much larger knives that are more suitable because I get comments every time I'll show a chopping video with this. They're better knives for the job. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, in my daily carry, I'll carry a modern folder, a slip joint, and a fixed blade. The fixed blades that I carry are small EDC fixed blades, right? They're not going to be full-size knives. The closest to a full-size knife would be the SKIII, which I think most people will agree that it comes in on the smaller side of a lot of your, outdoorsy fixed blades. So the SKIII is by far the most sizable in that group, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the hardest worker. So I have got these 5 here, guys. I went through it to just try to think about how it's different ways to look at my collection and hopefully give you guys ideas if you're trying to think of gaps to fill in your collection or certain knives that you might want to carry for this task or that task. All fantastic knives, all very economical, all USA made. That's the L2 Wright, Frontier First, the SKIII and S35VN, the Guardian III by Bradford and Rex 45. We've got the T.Kell Raider, and then we've got the Shed Knives Skur. So guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you find this stuff entertaining. If you'd like to see something different on the channel, please leave a comment. Tell me what you'd like to see on the channel. I'll do my best to accommodate you. I ask that you please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for that guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.